Hi, my name is Annabelle Fraser, and I'm the president of MIAGLI and the editor-in-chief of The Wave.
Hi, my name is Helen, and I'm the treasurer of GLI.
And today we're here with Mrs. Peggy Totten. Would you like to introduce a little bit about you?
Sure. My name is Peggy, and I have been living here on Marco for about 25 years now. And I am a teacher. I started my own preschool, and I have also been teaching all age levels. I've taught middle school and high school in history and geography. I have 3 children and a wonderful husband who teaches at Marco Island Academy.
So, what would you consider to have been the biggest inspiration in your efforts to start a preschool on the island?
To be honest, it was my children. So I was a teacher and I did work while my children were going into childcare. And we had some really bad situations with childcare. So I ended up staying at home with them for the last few years. So when my daughter Helen was about to turn 4, the priest at the church we were attending approached me and asked, "Do you want to start a school?" And my first thought was, no way. I do not want to do this. It is not anything I want. I want to stay at home with my daughter for 1 more year before she goes to kindergarten. So as I started thinking about it, I thought, what better way to offer a quality program on the island, something that I know other children could benefit from, and at the same time, I would be my daughter's teacher. So I started the process. There were a lot of bumps in the road to get started, and eventually we got it off the ground, and my other lead teacher also had her child starting in the program. So we had a very vested interest in making sure that it was a top-notch program.
Yeah. So did you guys derive children from all around Collier County, or was it mostly just on Marco?
Actually, so our program started as a VPK program only, which is voluntary pre-kindergarten, and so it was a free program for all children, and they could live anywhere in Collier County. So the first couple of years, we did actually have children coming all the way from Immokalee Road driving down, but the majority of our students were Marco Island children.
Yeah. Were there any other programs similar at the time, or was it just
There was one other one and several other daycares, but no pre-kindergartens other than this one.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Congratulations.
So how was the process of establishing a preschool here on the island? How did that go? You said there were some bumps in it, so what were some of those?
Okay, so the program, this is our 13th year in operation. So a lot of the bumps were some negativity. The church where we were at had some funding issues, and so they were willing to give me the space, but there wasn't a lot of money to help start the program. I am not the best person in order to get money and donations. That's not really my strength. So that was a very hard aspect. One of my donors, though, did give money for tables and some other supplies, but one of his things that upset him was that I wore pants. And so one of the first things he said to me is, "I'm not used to working with women who aren't wearing skirts. You should wear a skirt."
What does that even mean?
So he was an older gentleman, and it was one of those things where I had to say, should I be upset over this and not take this man's money to support my school, or should I realize that he's from a different generation? Let it go.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of negative things that would crop up that I would have to ignore. And even to this day, if I sat and thought about it, it would take me a while to remember some negative things that occurred, simply because in order to get anything done, you have to make sure you keep paving the way forward and ignoring the negative aspects of people. So finances were the biggest thing. And so a lot of the things that my program started with were my own children's books and toys. And they would always question, where did this go? Where did this go? And it was always at the preschool. So,
you spoke about, your character. What do you believe are some of the largest traits that you have that contribute to your success and your passion for teaching?
When I decide on something, I don't back down. And regardless of what other people say, Definitely there is so much negativity that surrounds all people, but especially a lot of women who are wanting to go start their own business or
Yeah.
move forward. People always question whether or not they have the ability to do this. And one comment that one of the leaders at the church had made to me that at first I guess I had never heard it. Since then I've unfortunately heard it. But he said, well, those who can't teach, meaning if you can't, those people who can't achieve other things just end up teaching. That was very frustrating for me because obviously teaching is my passion. I love leading other children, young people to their own futures and passions. And so for anybody to think that it's a step down from, say, any other career was very upsetting. So once again, put it to the back of my head, ignore it, and move forward. I also tend to have the personality when someone says you can't do something,
You gotta do it.
I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
And so I think for just people in general, and definitely young women moving forward, know that there's going to be a lot of negative things coming up in the future. And you can choose to internalize it, accept it, and say, yeah, you're right, I can't do this. Or just ignore it. Use it as a catalyst to make change, or use it as something that you just ignore and move forward.
Yeah. It's a very common theme in these podcasts that we've done with Miss Lucius and Miss Watt. Both of them said the same that you did. When someone tells me that I can't do something, it just makes me want to do it. So congratulations. It's amazing for your part.
So you said that like a lot of people have looked down on teaching and stuff like that. So what would you say are some challenges that you do face that people don't really realize, that they might not realize makes teaching not just some simple career?
Number one, I personally feel teachers are not paid what they are worth. And so you really have to have a passion to stay in teaching.
Yeah.
It's true. If I left my job today, I could make triple what I make going into the business world. And with my mentality and the way I seek out goals, I know I could do it. But I love my job and I love being my own boss. But in general, I think anytime someone says that you're unable to do something, it's the best way to kind of use that, like I said, as a catalyst.
Yeah.
So something more on the pay. I know you said that can sometimes be hard for teaching. Are there any other jobs that you had previously that you've experienced some sort of pay issue with that?
For sure. So traveling has always been a passion of mine. So when I was in college, I wanted to study abroad. And we did not have the finances to do so. And taking loans wasn't very common back then. So I took a job working for a highway department where I would drive dump trucks and do manual labor, road work. And it was pretty grueling work at times. And back then, this might sound really low, but it was a lot of money. The pay was $4.50 an hour.
Oh my God.
Well, I found out later that the 3 college boys that were hired were being paid $1 an hour more than me. And so, and did not do nearly even half of the work I was doing. So thankfully, there were some supervisors that noted this and somebody that let me know, just so you know, they're getting paid $1 an hour more than you. So I had to go and fight for a raise. The 3 young men did not stay employed very long, but getting that additional raise and standing up for my right to be paid equally was something that allowed me to save more money and then study abroad.
Absolutely. So, having the drive to, stand up for yourself like that. Are there any times when your, mechanisms to, push yourself forward like that, or even your leadership mechanisms outside of preschool, do those ever conflict like what you have to do in preschool and with your career? Because, you kind of got to keep a certain demeanor and composition when you're dealing with little kids.
So I have to say my personality has changed over the 13 years since I started my program. And I think a lot of times we as women are taught to just accept things, be quiet, don't say things that's going to ruffle anyone's feathers. And I've learned that I can't run a business that way. there are going to be people that take advantage of you, people that won't want to pay, people that aren't treating my other teachers in a kind manner.
Yeah.
And I've learned that I've just had to stand up for myself, for my program, for my children, for my teachers. I fairly recently, had a situation where one of my teachers was yelled at by a parent. And I was lucky to even get my teachers to come back after COVID.
Ugh.
And they are very dedicated teachers. So I'm not going to allow anybody to disrespect my teacher. And I had to just ask that family to leave. So unfortunately, it was nothing to do with the child.
Yeah.
But it was everything to do with the respect being held toward my teachers. So I definitely have had to change my personality and be, people used to say I didn't have a spine, which I definitely do now. So no one's going to take advantage of my situation or the people I love or the children that are entrusted to me.
Yeah, and that's so interesting too, because myself included, a lot of people believe, oh, preschool teacher, it's so fun. You just do like, arts and crafts all day. You don't. It's a light career. And then you hear this, and you see the actual reality of it from someone who's in that field, and it's more than it actually seems to be. So.
So I'm curious, with all of this that you've done with your career throughout your whole life, where do you find the most support or empowerment for that? Like, how do you continue to stay driven?
At this point, like I guess before, it was always wanting to maybe show people what I could do. That's not so important anymore. I know what I can achieve. What other people think or say isn't important anymore. And for me, it's really about maintaining a place of work where I can go in every day and love it and enjoy it. If the rest of the world sees it differently, that's okay. I had my teachers yesterday decorating for Christmas, and they were laughing so hard. And I heard one of them say, if at the end of a long day you can still laugh, you're working at a good place. So that's all the validation I need. So, yes.
Going off of that, how would you inspire young women like you to find empowerment within their career, even though it might not be, the stereotypical, oh, if you want to be powerful, you have to be a politician or you have to go into law or something like that? How would you inspire young women to find, confidence within any career that they like?
If it's something that you love and you want it, you just have to go for it. I knew I've always loved teaching. I did not think I would ever stay in pre-K. I love teaching high school. I love teaching history and geography. And understanding that what you enjoy, what you love is going to morph over the years. I'd probably like teaching high school again, but that's just not the place I'm at. So knowing that your interests might change also when if you're starting a new business or going into a career, just know that it might change over the years. Know that there's going to be people, I know somebody who's going into education now, and the parents are feeling that their child is taking a step down, that they could do so much more. But if that is what the child wants to do, if they can put food on their table, have a roof over their heads, that's good.
I know.
So I know you said you really love hearing that your teachers love to teach at the school you've created and that you really love to see the impact you've made. What are do you have any other rewarding aspects of your career or some things that really stand out to you or just throughout your life that you really love?
So in terms of my career, definitely we get children coming to us. They're all 4, turning 5 throughout the school year. And a lot of them come to us crying. They still are struggling with bathroom issues. They don't know how to recognize their name. There's a lot of different, and they're all at different levels. We had some children coming to us reading already, and other children who at this point are still struggling with learning 1, 2, 3. So every child learns at a totally different level. It doesn't mean that one is going to be more successful in the future over another. But in general, just seeing, I remember when I taught in middle school and high school, you would see growth in the children over the year, but it might be a small amount. When you teach pre-kindergarten, you see so much growth. It's exponential. And to see where they start and how they're not confident and they're scared to the point right now they're already walking in the door by themselves, and we are teaching them how to interact with each other and solve do problem solving on their own and so forth,
Yeah.
to the end of the year where they're ready to go. They're ready to go to kindergarten, and I'm always grateful Tommy Barfield loves getting our students because they know that the children are confident, socially ready. That's even more important than ABCs, 1, 2, 3s. Knowing that the
Absolutely.
children are confident in themselves, and if someone's being not so nice to them, that they can speak to them. So we try to give them those skills. So just seeing
Yeah.
the exponential growth is wonderful.
So it's not so much just like, learning academic skills, it's also learning social skills too.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
I'm just curious because I did not receive preschooling myself. I'm not sure. Did you?
I did.
assume?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was the first year of her preschool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got it. That makes sense. So are there any differences that we can see like throughout kids who did receive preschooling going into elementary school and kids who didn't?
Well, originally, I was not a fan when the VPK program came out, I don't even know, 20 some years ago. I was not a huge fan of it because I was staying at home with my children. And I thought, well, if kids can be at home till they go to kindergarten, that's great. That's not the reality today.
Yeah.
Both parents have to work. We have a lot of single parents,
Yeah.
single men, single women that need support. And I feel that especially with the way the Florida school system is designed, if they haven't had a pre-K program, they do struggle more. Number one is social issues.
Yeah.
They can always learn their other skills, but definitely socially, because of the way kindergarten is structured and elementary school is structured, they need to have those skills to really succeed right away. Not saying that they're not going to succeed if they
Yeah.
don't go to a pre-K program. There's
Yeah.
plenty, it's just fine.
Yeah.
But I do feel like it is a good program.
Yeah. And I feel like people often underestimate the importance of pre-K, not just, for the child themselves, but for their parents as well. Because like you said, a lot of parents do have careers where they're not able to spend time with their children all the time. So that is, it's nice to provide a space for that where they're also, nourishing their kid.
Right. And
So-
a lot of parents, too, it's not really in their genes. My
Yeah.
sister's a nurse. If I have to sit and nurse someone back to health, it is just not my
Yep.
thing.
Yep.
I can deal with basic, Band-Aids and things at the pre-K, but when it comes to education, that is what I love to do, and it doesn't always come naturally for everyone. So especially for those parents who are, not sure, am I educating them correctly? They are. Reading to them,
Yeah.
spending time with them, that's the number one thing parents can do anyway. But sometimes, we all need to help out, jump in and take care
Yeah.
of our
Yeah.
people of Marco Island.
So good on you for doing that. It's much appreciated. I know a lot of people who have children in your preschool and they just absolutely love it. So is there anything else that you'd like to add or that we'd like to add?
I just want to say one thing. So with you being my mom, I've always been very inspired by you. And I just wanted to thank you for that because you've spoken a lot throughout this whole thing about how you always just, if someone says you can't do it, you do it. And you always try, I can see how hard you work every day. And like a lot of people, like you say, look down on teaching. And with both my parents being teachers, people will say like, oh, like, they're just teachers. It's not like you guys are like some crazy career. I don't even know. But I still feel very, inspired by you two. And it's made me want to be a teacher and just keep inspiring people in that way. But I'm just very glad that you get to raise me to be similar to how driven you are,
Thank you.
Yeah. So thank you so much for agreeing to come in and do
thank you.
this.
Thank you for having
We
me.
love this. We are the Women of GLI, and we will see you on the next episode.